I absolutely love this. Freshman star wide receiver Malcolm Simmons, he knew he was good enough to play right away.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Today's show features a conversation with On to Victory's Brett Whiteside. He runs the thing. And, of course, freshman wide receiver Malcolm Simmons. The first thing I asked Malcolm, he knew he'd start right away. Let's jump into that. And joining us now here on the show, Brett Whiteside of On to Victory, and, of course, Auburn wide receiver Malcolm Simmons. Malcolm, you've kind of hit the ground running as a true freshman wide receiver. As his offense seems to get more and more comfortable. It's had to have been a lot over the last few weeks.
Yeah, coming in as a freshman, I knew I could play and make an impact on the team. So it was just me just coming in, learning the offense, and now I got the offense down. It's gonna be a show for these next 6 games. So
Yeah, Brett, obviously you guys at On to Victory are kind of tasked with making sure, talented guys like Malcolm are happy as far as NIL is concerned in regards to, keeping talent here at Auburn. What's the current state of NIL at Auburn University?
Yeah, absolutely. First off, thanks for having me.
Of course.
And Malcolm as well. Appreciate y'all letting us be on the show today. Obviously with the NIL Collective, our role is just to be the mechanism to allow all of the fans to pool resources in one central location to make the greatest impact. And we're supporting all of our sports here at Auburn. We have all 21 sports on a contract by the end of this academic year. But for right now with football, obviously we started most of these guys on a contract in January or the start of the academic year, and those will continue on. And we're just doing all we can to support these great athletes. We appreciate them pouring their heart and soul into Auburn and representing us in the best way. I think that one of the great things about not only the class that Malcolm's in, but really all the guys on the team is just you can really see that Coach Freeze and his team's building a great culture. And so we love being able to have the opportunity to work with great Auburn men and women.
Yeah. Malcolm, you kind of arrived a little bit later than a lot of your class did. You didn't go through spring. And so you stepped foot on campus. How great is it to have the staff at On to Victory kind of explain how all this NIL stuff works, how all this contract stuff works, so you can focus on getting ready for the season like you did?
It was new to me coming in. I really didn't know anything about it. So when I got here, they explained to me how everything was going to be ran, and I won't have to really worry about that side because everything we took care of and just me focused on school and then football. So, it's been a pretty good journey. Yeah.
Malcolm, Brett just kind of mentioned it, but your class, it seems like you guys are all super close and super bought in to what Hugh Freeze and his staff is trying to build here at Auburn. Is there a sense of pride, a sense of camaraderie amongst your class?
My class, we all been close since middle school. So we all came here to bring Auburn back up. And if not this year, next year somebody will. For the end of this season to go into next year, somebody's going to be open, and we're going to be one of the top teams in the country.
Yeah, no, I love that. Brett, you've got to love that too. You guys at On to Victory, just knowing that these guys are all on the same page. You don't see that everywhere.
Yeah, no question. I think just speaking to NIL as an industry, I think a lot of fans, supporters just of college football, all have their opinions on NIL. But I think, one of the great things that I see is these young people are looking to be at a place that can develop them, holistically. Malcolm's a smart young man. He's coming in. He's getting a great degree. He's being surrounded by people who are developing him on and off the field. And what I've really seen about Malcolm's class is they came in focused on all of the ways that they can develop and not making decisions solely based off NIL. Now, we want to support these young men on this team, no question. But, it's been really refreshing. And I think that more people need to hear these stories like what Malcolm's speaking of, like, hey, they're here, this class is here to bring Auburn football back to the prominent place that it belongs to be. And that's what we all love to hear. We're making decisions based off of those things, not necessarily, the highest value NIL that there is out there. But also we understand on the Victory, it is our role to support these athletes at the highest level within what the market says. And we can really only do that with the support of the Auburn family.
Yeah. Brett, I mean, you've got a kind of a tough job. I mean, obviously there's the personalities and making sure everybody's good, but there's also like the fact that the rules seem to be changing by the week almost. Anytime there's new legislation or anytime there's new laws passed or made, you guys have to kind of alter what you're doing. So revenue sharing appears to be coming soon, and it appears to be inevitable. What does that mean for On to Victory and what you guys are doing?
Yeah, great question. I mean, everything that we're reading right now, whether it's the House case, whether they're going to go into a settlement, or whether it's other states that are passing state laws or executive orders and how that's giving those schools within those states an advantage, we're obviously tracking on that very closely. I mean, I have the head of compliance for Auburn Athletics on speed dial. I mean, we're talking all the time. We're continuing to educate me on what the new rules are of that. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like in the future, but everything is tracking towards a July, August transition towards revenue sharing. So we at least know that we're going to be supporting these athletes in the current form for the next 12 months, which is why we've recently launched into a $1 million match campaign that really incentivizes our fans to create an annual membership. What is this going to look like in the future? We're not sure what it's going to look like in 18, 24, 36 months, but I can tell you for the next 12 months, On to Victory is going to make an impact with Auburn Athletics. And if you would like to create an annual membership, we have a donor who's donated up to $1 million, and he will match and incentivize those people who will make an annual membership, and they'll actually get 3x on the match and make 3 times the difference for the student athletes. So those are the kinds of the ways that we're thinking here as we're planning out for the next 12 months.
Yeah, Malcolm, it's got to be cool to play for a fan base. I mean, those are some big money numbers that Brett was listing out. I mean, anonymous donor willing to pay millions of dollars to you guys to help Auburn succeed on the field because this fan base believes in you guys so much. That's got to be a cool feeling.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. But because like coming from a high school standpoint, I mean, you're not getting paid. I mean, you're not getting paid money to play. So when you come to college, I mean, it's a big task. It's a big task for us athletes, but it's really not. So coming from that standpoint, I mean, it's like you go out there and you do what you do, you get paid, and then if you don't, then some things happen, some won't. But just going to listen and just going out there and playing for each other and having the fans coming to donate, that's a good thing for us and them as well. Because once we go out there and play, the fans are gonna continue to donate, and they're just gonna give us the light and just keep doing it. And I mean, it's just gonna get better from there.
Yeah. Sure. Malcolm, your role in the offense continues to trend up. We're all kind of assuming that the young guys are going to get even more playing time after this bye week to get you guys more and more acclimated in the offense or the defensive side of the football. What does that mean for you? Does this change how you approach practices or film review, or is it just kind of, hey, you've been locked in the same every step of the way, and so it's just business as usual for you?
Just business. Just continue to stay locked in and continue to do what I do, and just going out there on Saturdays, making plays like always.
Yeah. All right. I asked Malcolm a very important question in just a moment, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel's America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, you can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets. Guaranteed. Just place that first $5 bet. And that could be if you believe Auburn could go on the road and do something, make a statement against Missouri. Auburn plus 5.5 right now, the time of this recording. But you might as well get that now if you're taking the Tigers, because I think that line is going to move closer and closer to maybe Auburn just being a 3.5-point dog. We'll see. We'll see. But head over to FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook. That is at FanDuel.com. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Game Time is where I go to buy tickets. It's the cheapest option. And look, when you're going to a game, you don't want to spend as much as possible. You want to spend as little as possible. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks, which makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play a little easier. A little easier. And I also encourage you to check out the panoramic view from your seat. Check that out before you buy. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's Game Time. Malcolm, if you had to rate yourself amongst everybody on the Auburn football roster when it comes to speed, how close are you to being the fastest player on the roster? Would you say that you're number one, or how many guys are faster than you?
I get this. We always talk about this. So in the receiver room, it's between me, Dre, and probably Bryce Kane. And then I think the fastest on the team is probably J.C. Hart.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Who's been the leader in that wide receiver room? Who's kind of stepped up and been the vocal guy behind the scenes?
I give it to Dre and Rob Lewis. Like since they first came in, they always been on top of the young guys, because we really have a young group. It's just them two older guys, and then you get Caleb Burns, Sam, and Camden. But them two guys, when I first met them, they was on there like that. So just them two with us young guys, just listening to them because they've been in college more. I'm a freshman. I've only been here 6 months, so I really don't know nothing for real. So just me listening to them and just taking tips from them. But yeah.
I mean, KLS has been awesome this year. I mean, he's putting together. I mean, he's on pace to have one of the best receiver seasons ever. Robert, what are some things that you've learned from some of these older guys? Can you point to one thing specific that you feel comfortable sharing with us?
I probably say with me, since this summer, probably tempoing my routes, or like tempoing my speed in routes. Because like I said, I came in and just blowing by people, and some of the DBs caught on to that, and then he just was like, okay, so since they doing this now, I just want you to do this when you come off the line. Then that'll get them to react, and then you still can blow by them. So just tempoing to just knowing when to really run fast and when to like slow down and then get up to top speed.
Yeah. Brett, I mean, this goes back to something you said earlier. I mean, this core group of young guys that the staff has brought in, I mean, their attention to detail and desire to get better, the desire to be coached. I think that's something that's going to be special in the future, and you guys have done a good job of kind of cultivating that.
Yeah, no question. I mean, I think our football coaching staff has just done a phenomenal job in their pursuit of building out the roster in their opinion the right way, and fully support the way that Coach Freeze is building this through the high school recruiting classes. He talked about how important 24, 25, 26 recruiting classes would be to establish a foundation, and then utilizing the portal to plug and play various holes that there might be. But then also, those guys who have been foundational players on this team, as Malcolm's talking about, some of the older guys that are providing leadership, and establishing a culture council. I mean, I'm just really impressed by the way Coach Freeze has built this roster, and I think the future is really bright. Yeah.
So, Brett, one last thing. I want you to repeat kind of some of the incentives that are coming up, how Auburn fans can help Auburn be as competitive as possible on the field. Go through that one more time, if you would.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just quickly, I'd like to just remind all of the supporters and fans of Auburn just the impact that NIL is making among all of our sports, that this is right now the only way in which our athletes can be compensated for their name, image, and likeness. Obviously their athletic ability and performance can impact their name, image, and likeness. But for right now, these student athletes are being paid to perform services, to go to personal appearances, to make phone calls, to sign autographs. And we're paying them, for their fame that they're receiving for being a part of the Auburn family. And the only way that can be funded at Auburn University within the state of Alabama is to fund that from the fan base. And nationally, if you look at this across the board, Auburn's not an outlier. 98% of all NIL deals that are being processed from private donor dollars. And so we've established our membership to where we have over 3,000 people who are participating every month. And so we're just encouraging the Auburn fan to get involved. A lot of people have supported Auburn over the years, and we are so appreciative of those people who support Auburn athletics, Auburn University, the foundation. And this is just a new, unique way in which you can support, as in beginning with as little as $17 a month. They can sign up. They receive perks and benefits. They can come to events. They'll get a handwritten card from a player. They'll get access to War Eagle Plus, which is a great premium content streaming service that has all kinds of behind-the-scenes content. There's actually a great documentary that's coming out here really soon that'll be exclusive to people that are On to Victory members. So there's a lot of ways to get involved. We just encourage everyone to take that leap of faith and see the impact that you're going to be able to make as we continue out this next year of NIL in its present form. So go to ontovictory.com to see all the ways that you can support and join. And if you want to track our campaign, it runs through the end of the year, ontovictory.co. You can see where we're at on hitting that $1 million.
Awesome. Awesome. Malcolm, Brett, thank you guys so much for your time, and hopefully we get to talk again soon. Super great stuff. Please like the video. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.